They're not plastered all over the billboards, but they're still worthy of your time. This is Ashley with WatchMojo, and today we're going to be counting down our picks for the top 20 underrated anime. For this list, we'll be looking at the series that make for excellent viewing experiences, but may not get as much traction as they should. As always, you can catch me on Twitter at AshJBo, so head over there, give me a follow, and let me know which anime list you want to see next. Number 20, Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun. He's the sweetest cinnamon roll you're likely to meet, who also happens to have horrendous excuses for parents. How else do you explain them selling his soul to demons? Thankfully, Iruma's new hellish guardian turns out to be a pretty swell guy, adopting him as his grandson and enrolling him at a prestigious academy. Just one issue. All his classmates and teachers happen to be demons that will devour him whole if they discover he's a human. Thus begins Iruma's new life, and while it may be rather light-hearted in its presentation, the sheer amounts of charm on display makes the whole thing a joy, especially when Iruma starts unwittingly becoming the toughest guy on campus.
後にこの決闘を見た者は語る。そう、それは見事なジャーマンスープレックスであったと。
Number 19, Gargantia on the Virtuous Planet. Talk about a culture clash.
時間だ。レド、戻れ。クーゲル中佐、しかし。あいつらはもうダメだ。諦めろ。これ以上エネルギーを消耗するな。
As a dedicated soldier of the Galactic Alliance of Humankind, Leto was fully prepared to give his life in service of his race by mercilessly slaughtering the spacefaring squids known as Hideaus, at least until he and his mini-mecha were sent crashing to an ocean-covered Earth, picked up by a salvage ship filled with humanity's remnants and left to pick up the pieces of his new life.
チェインバー、座標はまだわからないのか。観測情報が不足。時間を要する。そうか。
The space battles are certainly entertaining, but what really sells this overlooked sci-fi is Leto's adjustment to leaving the battlefield, his relationship with the optimistic Amy, as well as his investigation into mankind's sordid history. Number 18, Macross Delta. If you're an anime fan, chances are you've heard the name of this legendary franchise, but perhaps not this particular entry.
脱出システム作動確認。整備は万全だぜ。いい感じだ。
Given how sprawling Macross is, trying to grasp a hold of the continuity can be a little tricky. If you're still determined to find a foothold, then there are worse places to start than the hidden gem Delta, since it takes all the elements that made Macross a household name in Japan with a fresh coat of paint.
私の歌を間近で聴いている限り問題ない。
So if you want to see idols singing their hearts out while fighter pilots blast the bejesus out of alien threats, here's your chance. Number 17, Aho Girl. You like bananas? Chances are you've got nothing on Yoshiko. To call her one peel short of a full fruit would be an understatement, since the poor girl is about as functionally inept as can be. She cares not for school, bettering her life, or making friends. All she wants is some of that banana goodness and bumping uglies with her childhood crush, who wants little to nothing to do with her. If you're a fan of somewhat cringy, highly vulgar anime comedy, this is the one for you. Yoshiko may have way too many flaws to count, but that doesn't mean she's not as lovable as can be. Number 16, Good Luck Girl.
私は貧乏神のもみじ。神の国から
やってきました。
What happens when you're blessed with so much luck that a goddess of poverty shows up to try and snatch some of it back before all fortune in the world is eradicated? If you're Ichigo, you battle it out every day against crazy deities and monsters, including a vicious teddy bear and a dog god who is not subtle about his masochistic tendencies. It's batshit from beginning to end, but thanks to the likability of the happy-go-lucky Ichigo and miserable goddess Momiji, this zany comedy hits all the right notes.
本当ありがとな。ちちこ。いつこお姉さんでしょ。
Number 15, Digimon Xros Wars. The dark horse of the Digimon franchise, which is a shame since many disregard it out of the gate due to the animation style having a much more kid-oriented feel to it.
へ、お前には聞こえねえだろ。あのコードクラウンたちの声が。
If that's been your experience, we urge you to give it another go, since the original release not only tackles some of the brand's darkest themes, such as digi-genocide, but also wasn't afraid to go all out with its action and even its fan service.
私もお前についてきた甲斐があった。
ありがとう、メルバも。
Plus, all the hype and combinations going around, the whole thing has a huge Gurren Lagann feel. Put some respect on Shoutmon. Number 14, Barakamon. Finding the artist within can be a trying process, especially when you've been exiled to a new rural landscape on account of punching a critic who denounced your work.
なんだこれ、テレビでしか見たことないぞ。携帯にカメラがついてタッチパネルで操作する時代になんてもの。
Yeah, Honda and his inner muse haven't been having a great time, and while he at first considers this relocation to be a colossal disaster, the unexpected interactions and budding relationships with the island's locals soon starts to pave the way towards his own style of calligraphy. The feel-good vibes are all the rage here, and are perfectly woven alongside some of the more slapdash comedy elements, which is to be expected when Honda has to deal with someone like Naru all day long.
この島で。どうにかやっていけそうだ。
Number 13, Akashic Records of Bastard Magic Instructor. Blending together some of the best tropes of the magic genre and the resulting action, lore, and interactions between our two polarizing leads turned out to be quite intriguing.
特技と趣味は。
挨拶はいいから早く授業を始めてくれませんか。
ま、そりゃそうだな。
As a favor to his friend, the highly skilled yet unmotivated Glenn finds himself in a teaching position at an illustrious magical academy, where he immediately comes into conflict with the aristocratic student, Sistine. Throw in sinister forces working behind the scenes, Glenn's obnoxious sense of humor, as well as his charming relationship with his precious white cat, and you've got a good time in the making. Seriously, where is season 2? Number 12, Mononoke. Exorcising evil spirits has never been more stunning.
ありませんぜ。
一人でに開いた。
Posing as a wayward medicine seller, this feline-like nomad traverses the land in search of Mononoke, entities that appear in the real world via the negative influence of humans, corrupting and potentially killing innocents, at least until they encounter the medicine seller's sword. But first, he has to identify their form, truth, and reason.
誰を殺した？
It's not every day you encounter a supernatural detective thriller anthology with a style akin to a moving painting. Honestly, the transformation sequence alone makes this series worthy of your time and attention. Number 11, Rokka, Brave of the Six Flowers.
試合内容の変更をお知らせするぜ。地上最強の男アドレットと
あんたら二人の戦いだ。
7 of the strongest warriors the world over have gathered together, all with the sole purpose of defeating the all-powerful demon god. Just one slight issue. There's only meant to be 6 of them, meaning one is an imposter sent to foil their efforts.
あなたも私を殺しに来たの。
撃つな。俺はアドレッド・マイヤー。お前と同じロッカの勇者だ。
From that point on, what was supposed to be a fantasy shonen becomes a whodunit, with newcomer Adlets caught in the crossfire as suspect number 1. While the action is solid, it's the mystery of who the imposter is that will keep you enthralled from start to finish. Number 10, Nobunaga Concerto. Don't you just hate it when you're going about your daily life only to suddenly find yourself flung into the past and are unexpectedly given the position as serving as Oda Nobunaga's body double?
その格好は時代劇の撮影とかですか？カメラとかは？
Besieged by the warlord to take his place, Saburo is catapulted into the life of one of Japanese history's most legendary figures, with only his modern knowledge to keep him afloat. Don't let the CGI fool you. Not only is this series all kinds of intriguing, but also does a sublime job at teaching audiences about the Sengoku period.
歴史変えちゃまずいもんな。
Number 9, The Heroic Legend of Arslan.
基本をお磨きなさいませ。アルスラン殿下。
A sweeping epic that pits an unprepared prince against a hostile world as he is forced to lead the remnants of his kingdom to war against those who would destroy them, all the while combating political enemies every step of the way. Considering this was written by the same genius who gave us Legend of the Galactic Heroes, should we really be surprised by its quality?
どうやらルシタニアの蛮族どもにも知恵者がいるようだな。そうだ。
With the art style penned by Hiromu Arakawa, you know, the creator of Fullmetal Alchemist, this series already had a phenomenal foundation. And while it may not quite reach the heights of the original novels, its scope is still nonetheless impressive.
焼き殺せ。
Number 8, Techhnolyze. Just in case you wanted your depression with an extra dose of dystopian backdrop, sci-fi amputees, and faction wars, then Ichise's struggle to survive in such an oppressive place as the city is sure to bring you down several pegs. After his boxing career ends with 2 of his limbs getting torn off, Ichise has no choice but to take on the role of enforcer for one of the city's many warring cliques. At least until he encounters a young woman named Ran, who has the power to see into the future. Don't expect any happy endings here, just lots of compelling suffering. Number 7, Chio School Road.
無茶をしても遅刻はしない、それが私のクリード。
So many comedies fall by the wayside when a new anime season comes out, which is a shame because some of them are an absolute riot. Case in point, the life and times of this gamer girl, whose every morning trip to school somehow becomes fraught with hilarious danger.
千代ちゃんさ、落ちてもいいんじゃない？怪我はしなさそうだし。
Determined to remain neutral in the eyes of her fellow students, Chio will do whatever it takes to not throw herself into the public spotlight. Even if an average day for her consists of outwitting motorcycle gangs, traversing rooftops, boss battles with her backside on the line, plus a million other things your average student can only dream of. Number 6, Tsuritama. If you're not already drawn in by the vibrancy and striking color of the animation, then the tale of 4 lads trying to save the world via the art of fishing certainly will. While you shouldn't go in expecting there to be a life or death battle that involves reeling in an eldritch fish, the interplay and likability of our main heroes is more than enough to sell the story, even if one is the pinnacle of introverted and another is an alien.
みんなでずっと仲良くしていたいから。
Number 5, Mr. Tonigawa, Middle Management Blues.
つか区別
Kaiji may have been a series that revolved around life or death gambles and one loser's desperate struggle to climb out of financial hell, but turns out his spin-off series is actually pretty light-hearted, which is kind of confounding as it focuses on the exploits of one of the series' main antagonists.
やっとクライマックスか寝ている起こした方がいいのか
To keep his position secure at the Tei Corporation, Tonegawa must leap through a crazy amount of hoops to keep the business afloat, and stay in the psychotic chairman's good graces. You wouldn't have thought having to remember the names of his identical employees, setting up a workplace barbecue, and learning how to use Twitter would make for good comedy, but Tonegawa somehow nails it.
お待たせしました。カツ丼大盛りです。
なんだこの圧倒的な量は
Number 4. Trapeze.
イラブ一郎、よろちくび
Also known as Welcome to Irabu's Office, this particular medical drama isn't so much about combating lethal diseases and the relationships between its staff as it is absolute madness that only the Japanese could think up. Despite appearing as a child, Irabu is without doubt the greatest, if most unorthodox, licensed professional out there. Whether it's a gangster afraid of knives, a gymnast scared to death of heights, or a businessman with some serious downstairs trouble, there's no condition Irabu can't solve. With the medicine prescribed often being crazier than the patient's predicament, there's so many laughs to be had, you'll end up needing an appointment yourself.
大丈夫自信あるんだ
Number 3. SSSS.Gridman.
グリッドマン、俺を呼んだよな。
そうだ。私と君が覚醒しなければならない。
For fans of the original tokusatsu, you're in for a treat, since this series makes for one hell of a high-octane trip, with all its hype polished with Studio Trigger's signature lavish production. For the rest of you uninitiated in the ways of this talking mecha, just know that this has all the staples you could want in a show that pits a giant robot against a kaiju each episode, with a few twists thrown in to shake things up, especially when it comes to our villain. If that's not enough for you, then all we can say is that you're denying yourself the chance to see Rika's thighs, saving lives. Number 2. Astra Lost in Space. One of the true hidden gems of last year, this sci-fi adventure was one of those rare modern anime that succeeded in telling a complete story all in the space of a single season, and without a single misstep. Originally set to spend a few days at a camp on another planet, a group of teens from all walks of life are suddenly transported across the galaxy. Their only hope of returning rests on an abandoned spaceship, where they must chart a course for home, stopping at several potentially deadly worlds along the way for supplies. For the cast and overarching narrative alone, this is a must-watch. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. C. The Money of Soul and Possibility Control.
Direct.
Ever wondered what it would be like if Yu-Gi-Oh! Literally became the embodiment of screw the rules, I have money? Well, wonder no longer. As a destitute student surrounded by wealthy peers, the good-natured yet greedy Yoga finds himself drawn to a parallel world where combatants known as Antras clash for control and fortune.
分かったじゃないか。お父さんは授業に失敗して君を捨てたわけじゃないと。
こんなことにはまらなければ死なずに済んだ。
Socioeconomic death battles with crazy abilities might not seem like your cup of tea, but after the psychedelic visuals grab a hold of you, we're willing to bet you'll be back for more of these do-or-die gambles. Plus, this show, no lie, has one of the greatest soundtracks in history, including bangers by Taku Iwasaki and Lotus Juice. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.